Hi, I'm Lokesh Jha, and welcome to the part 2 of React. In the part 1 of the React, we have covered what is React, how to set it up using White, and what are components, JSX rules, and why it is .jsx, not JS. And we have built a profile card app using components. The reusability is shown. However, that component was kind of static. And if we consider what is static, so if there is no change could be made, it is just fixed data, so it is kind of static. If there would be any checkbox or we could have edited the values, so it is considered as dynamic. So we will be fixing those things in React part 2 in this video using useState. We will get to know what it is and how React is powerful because of the useState. You just need to make any change in the value and the UI will be updated by React, and it is not for going for like using get element by id or doing the dom manipulation manually. So React does this in the background. You just need to be updating the data as you are just programming, and the UI will be updating by React. We also cover event handling, controlled from inputs, conditional rendering, and at the end, we will build an interactive to-do app from scratch, which will concise everything which we have learned in part 1 and part 2. And you will have a hands-on experience on these concepts that we have learned. So let's get started. But also, you will need to code with me, or either you can just pause and just start coding with me whenever I just build a mini project or any code, so that you will gain more hands-on experience. So now the section 1 states what is state. So in the first video we have already seen that what is props, and the props. Okay, let's see, you have a page here, or it could be a component, and you have written some code, and you want that this piece of UI will be coming from this component. So a page is also a JSX, a component is also a JSX. So this we have page and component, both are JSX, both are kind of returning a UI only. Here we will have a small part of UI that will be reused. So we have written that here separately, and we will be re-rendering, or we will be reusing this component multiple times in a page or in other pages. So that's why we have used it. Now let's suppose this is kind of generic. We have just written name. So here for this component, I will expect a name to be coming from where it is called, so that I will show that name here, as we have seen in the previous video how the props works. So whenever you call a component like profile card, you also pass something like name equals, and here you put like, okay, if there is something user dot name, or it is a value, then name equals lowercase, so something like that, either this way or this way. However, this is the practice, as we need to loop on this users, and for each user we will be renting this profile card. So it is done by that. Now you have understanding of props. Now we will see what is state. So state is different. State is data that lives inside the component and can change over time. In props, we have seen that props is only read only. We used to only show this in the UI. It is not changeable, but in state, it lives in component, and it is for changing purpose. So let's suppose you have some value count as 0 here. So this will have a hook. How a fishing has a hook. When you go for fishing, and whenever a fish comes, it knows that okay, there's a fish, and it needs to pull that string, so that fish will be caught. Here we have this 0, this value, we have hooked it with count value, and whenever we will update this value, this needs to be updated by 1 or 2, 3, whatever. So this update will be happening through React. We will be not doing like, okay, I'll go and update it. We just need to update this value, and hook is responsible to update it in UI. So it's like that. Earlier with the JS, what we did, we went to the DOM, we updated the value, and it needs to be done for each and every value using that get element by ID, and just update the inner text by this. Here in the React, what we will be doing, we will be just having two values, like, okay, this is count value, and there will be a function which updates the count value. Whenever this value needs to be updated, we will just call this function. We will not be writing any code for this function. This function will be given by React only. We just need to utilize this. Okay. So React automatically re-renders the component with new value. And this is the core mechanism of React interactivity. It will be just updating the component in the UI, not the full page. Okay, now this is the example that we will see. So here we have props from outside read only, and we have user card. So we have seen that, okay, we will get name as an object from the parent wherever it is called, and we will use that value to render this. So names comes from the parent and can only display, not changes. In the state lives inside. So here, if you see, and can change. So if we have a counter, and counter lives inside the counter. When it comes to changing the value, counter re-renders it automatically. So here we have use state. So if you focus this area, we have written use state, and the default value is 0 here, and count is the value that I have said, and set count is a function that is given through this process. So it is kind of standard way to write this constant, then open bracket, then value, and set. We write it set, then again this word, just the first word becomes capital count. So this is the standard way. We write the variable name, then set, and first letter is capital, and the same variable name equals use state. Here we will put a default value. It could be a number, it could be a string, it could be a boolean, any default value that will comes here. It could be null, it could be undefined, anything. Now this way of writing is standard, where you can write anything, but it is kind of standard way to follow, as it will be easier to trace that, okay, this is the variable, so this is the kind of updating the function. So whenever I am using this in UI, so here you will see h3 count is here, and we have used this value. And whenever this will be used, let's suppose I will count as set count 1, I will write this. So this value will change in the UI, and it will become count colon 1. And to, like, if you'll say that, okay, why will I be writing 1, 2, 3, all those things. So I will just make a loop, and it will be increasing, or here it is kind of counter. So there will be one button which will be having a trigger that whenever it is clicked, so on click we need to increase the value. So it will become kind of set count, inside the value count plus 1. So whatever the value is currently, so we will just pass as set count plus 1. So whatever the value is right now will become plus 1. So, and in the minus sign, we will just do count minus 1. So this you will see as very like normally in cart, where you see now that add to cart button, it will be similar add to cart button, but when you click, so it becomes here the quantity will be shown, and here minus, here plus. If you want to increase the number of number of item you want to buy, so it will become 2, it will become 3, it will become 4. So this is the counter that we are talking about. Okay, if you consider for example, then you can consider something like your ID card. It will have a DOB, date of birth, and let's suppose there is some uh, you're punching it and it is showing you the age. So this value needs to be changed as per the calculation of the date of birth, something like that. Something like in banks or wherever the age needs to be updated. So we do not store this age in DB. This is calculated at real time because it is not constant. It needs to be changing by the time. So that's why it is kind of how the state is. And in interview you could be asked like what is the difference between props and state in React. So props versus state, it could be asked in interview. So you need to answer that props are read only data passed from parent and component, uh, from parent to component, and it is just used to show in the UI. Not this value could not be changed. And in the state it is inside the component only, and it is for change. Whenever there will be change in the value of that state variable, the value will be updated in the UI. And React re-renders the component automatically. So props is external input, state is internal memory. So now we have a better understanding of what is props, what is state. Now I will again look into use state. What we have seen here, whenever we made the yeah, here we have made the count, which is a state of that. So why we have written use state? So what is use state? So use state, you will consider that it is a React hook. It is a React hook, and a hook is a special function that lets you use React features inside a function component. Use states gives you component memory. It can remember a value between renders. So typically what happens whenever a refresh happen or a user goes to some other page or something, so the whole context is gone. It remembers that. Let's suppose if you have a page and yeah, okay. We will go for the add to cart option. Let's suppose we have add to cart minus plus and you have made it 2, and you wanted to do a refresh, and you refresh the page and now it is again 0. So it will be not a better thing because user may wants to refresh, or there is some network problem or somehow if he went to some other page. So why it would be need to we need to keep this in memory. So here what will happen, use state will give memory to the component. Here we have import use state from React. So use state is provided by React, and you are using React for building the UI. So it is just in package. Now syntax will be constant, then there will be value and set value, use state, initial value. Okay, this is the default whatever starts you want to do with. In the counter we used 0, we could have used -1, or in the name we had used empty string also, and let's suppose later we got the value, we will be updating that value. So it could be any value, the initial value. Then useState returns an array of exactly two elements. The first is the current value, and the second is the function to update the value. So this function is to update this value. Set value and put anything what you want to make this value as the updated value. It will be updated. So we use array destructuring to name them, and here it is, we have already seen how destructuring happens. So we use the destructuring here. Here we have value, where we have set value. So this is how the destructuring happens. We could have also done something like constant and value equals used it and all. Then at the time of usage we could have written value 0, then use this value, or value 1, and do the component of the function calling and all those things. So it is bad, so that's why we use this way. So this is the standard way how we use. I made the duplicate of this copy here, and I will make one folder for part 2. Here I will insert this part 1 notes to be inserted this. So now we have separated part 1 and part 2. Here in the part 2 we have the same copy here. Let's rename this app. Okay, now we will go to app.jsx. Okay, now in the components we will be making one counter.jsx. Here we will write the component. So it will look similar, just it's kind of function counter and constant counter comma set counter, and we will use useState, and here we will put the default value as 0. Okay, now set is the this we will use only, like this function will be used only to update this counter value. We will not going to do something like counter equals 1. So this is not a good thing, because in this way we will not be utilizing the power of React. So that's why we will use this function to update this value. Now we will return a UI element return, and as we have learned that only one component needs to be returned from this, so we'll capture everything in div, and here we will have h2 and something like count, and we will use this value here. Yeah, counter we can write counter. Now we will have button, and inside this button we need to have a hook that will be monitoring anything happen. If this button is happened, what I need to do. So here we will put a on click. So whenever something happening, just do this set counter whatever we have in the count value plus 1. So this is the increment happening. We have increment. Similarly, we will do for decrement, just the thing changes is -1. And we can make one reset button 0. Now, yeah, it is completed. So now we just need to export default counter. Okay, counter, and it's done. Now the component is ready. We need to import this in our app.jsx in order to show this. It is not necessary that we will be importing in app.jsx only. Right now I'm having only one page, so that's why. So let's suppose we want to keep here after the h1. So import counter from, let's verify this is going correct place. Yeah, now we will save this. Counter is here. Now npm run dev, we have the URL. Okay, VS Code is giving now the URL browser also in here only. Okay, our component is not visible right now. Must be some issue. Let's check. Okay, now I get the issue. We were in the wrong part. CD part. Okay, I need to move back. CD my first project npm run dev. Yeah, now we have increment, decrement, Oh, the both are increment only here. We need to fix. Okay, minus decrement. Yeah, now increment, decrement, and reset. Okay. Now we have seen how we can make a increment, decrement, reset for the counter and see if we have any changement in the value. Only this value is changing. None of the other elements are having any refresh or reload. And just for the attention that okay, we will not be anytime doing counter equals counter plus one. It is just this function that should be used to update this value. Okay, now we have seen React rendering. Now we will see how React re-render works. Okay, so understanding when React re-render is important. Every time you call a setter function, which we have seen set counter. So every time you call this function with a new value here, like one or two, anything. So React re-renders that component and all the children's inside that also, not the parents, just the children inside that. Only the affected component are re-rendered, not the whole page. I'm saying this from start. So if we go here and I put a console.log of counter updated, re-rendering, and here I will put counter. And I will go here and in inspect. And now if I do increment, okay, need to go in console. Here we will see counter updated re-rendering 1, counter updated 2, then decrement, then reset. So every time I'm doing any change, so this is consoling means this whole component is updated right now. And this makes the uh, kind of re-rendering visible to the eye, and hope you understand why this is happening two times in the console because of the restricted mode. In dev mode we have already seen that in the strict mode it happens to render this twice. If I comment this out and then I do decrement or increment, it will be happening once, but React gives double rendering in dev. In the local, when we are doing anything in the production, it will not happening like that way. So this is how we see visually that okay, re-rendering is happening. So the second section is event handling. In event handling, we will see that okay, onClick is also in React, also in HTML, but how they are different. So we need to know those differences. So we will look into one example right now. So this is how we have a understanding of we write handle click as the function. It could be anything which needs to be called on click of this button in HTML. So when we are writing HTML, we will see that okay, we have a button and we have a hook, or we say that kind of, yeah, like it is having a hook on this button, that whenever this button is clicked, this function needs to be called. So we are passing it as string here, and this is fully small letters. Here we have in the React, we have button. On click is camel case. Here I will write camel case. In camel case, we write small, then the new word comes, so it becomes capital. Then again the new words, then it becomes capital, then all small. So and then the starts also with small. So this is small letter. Then again the click comes, so it becomes capital letter. So on click. So this is the camel casing in React. And also here we pass the reference of the function, not the string here. So function reference, not a call, no brackets here. If you see, no brackets are here. But earlier in the code you have seen like this, and I wrote some statement in the onClick. So this means that when this click is happening, like call this function, so this function is called. But if you write some function name and you put this, so on page load only this will be called. It is not like whenever you click, you may write on click make this, but if you write function and click this, JavaScript will understand that okay, I need to call this function as I load this page. So that's why we do not make brackets here. If we want to write everything here, so here what is happening, we have written and handle clicks, and this handle clicks will be defined somewhere and this will be called. But what suppose we have a one liner function that we can put here and it could not be reused anytime, so we can manage that one line here, and that will look like this. Okay, as we have seen here in the counter, so here it is like this. Okay. Now the common events, the on click, it is mouse click, on change when the input value changes. In the search bar, if we have something like 1, 2, 3, if I put 4 or if I remove 4, then the values below this needs to be changing. So we use this on change on that. On submit is there. If the form is submitted, then this needs to be called on mouse enter. Let's suppose there is some input field and I click the mouse and now I need to change the border color. So this is for that. On mouse leave, I need to do something like check or something. So on key down, on focus, on blur. So these are kind of events that you can use. You can explore and you can use this in your uh, project to have exposure. Yeah, now we will go for event handler function. Here we have use state, which is imported from React, and we have used two here. We have used two use states in one component, which is normal. You can use as many use states in a component and define handler. So here we have defined the handler. We have written some logics here that when this liked is true, then you need to decrease the like and set liked as false, and else you need to do this. And here we have return. So return is returning some so here we have this total part is the button, and we are returning a button which is kind of liked and unliked, all those things. So if we want to see this in action, let's go here and we will make a component like button.jsx. Here we will save this, and yes, export is needed. Here what we have done, we have imported, we have used it, and we have some logic, and we have a button, and this button is giving liked and unliked. So to see in this visuals, let's import this like button, and here like this we need to import like button. Okay, now if I go here, I will see a like button. Currently by default it is false. If I click here, so it will give me one like. Now it is true. Then again, if I click here, so it becomes false. So we are, you have seen this in Twitter if or Instagram. If you like something, it will get like. If you again click, so it becomes unliked. So this is the here in the components. So this you see that how we have just written one line and all the code lives here. So it is much easier to just go for a particular part of the code and just start fixing that. Okay, so here you have seen by default it is false. When you are coming here in the like button and you are clicking it, so handle click is called, and right now it will check if liked is false, so it becomes here, and like plus one, and also set like true. But now this is true. So when again I will click this, so it will come here and becomes true, and the like decreases, and this is becomes false. So if I remove this line, then what happens? If I even click this, see, and if that is there false, then it becomes normal. So you have to kind of touch the code, uh, manipulate these things, and understand why this is happening and all. So as you keep working on the code, you will get more experience, and you should not be just watching the video. You need to code it. Okay. Now we have seen this. We'll go for event object. Let's suppose we have a function which is key tracker, and here we have last key and set last key, and we have use state which is just empty string. So last key is empty. Now we have function handle key down. We have an event which will come. We will just console that. We will print the event.key. We will print event.key code and event.key. We are setting in the set last key. Now what is happening here in the return? We have an input field. We have a paragraph. So paragraph is just to show the value, and this is the input field. So let's see how the code looks. And let's make one key tracker dot jsx, and we will export default key tracker. So here we have one input field and one paragraph. So this is the kind of text just show in the UI last key pressed, and we have the last key or none. So if the last key has some value, then it will show, otherwise not. And one more thing, if we just simply import this, what was that, key tracker, and go in the UI which is broken. Let's see in the key tracker why it is broken. Okay, we have not imported the use state. So now we have press any key. So if currently it is none, but if I press any key like H, K, so it will show the which key is clicked in console. Okay, if I write capital A in console, you will see 65. So the 65 is equivalent of the A. The ASCII code of capital A is 65. Now here we have event and event key, event code we are printing. So whatever event is coming, we are writing that. We are just consoling it, and we are setting the last key as this. So why we are storing this last key here? So that in the UI, I need to show which last key was used. So it is updating as we do change this, and the consoles are happening here. If we want that, okay, I want to show this event key or event code also, let's suppose, then I will do constant key comma set key equals use state empty, and key is, we'll do this key. Also we need to set it, right? Set key event dot, oh, we were doing the key code. 1 minute, key code here, and key code. Okay, now if I go here, I whatever right is not coming. Nice. We have use state. Open here. This key code is here. Set key code. Okay, we have missed this. Now if I write, so the last key code is also coming. Okay, in the backspace is 8. So this is how we use it, and we have seen the event object. Event, this event is an object whenever we are triggering. So here we by default we are getting as a parameter of event whatever event is happening. So on key down we are just sending an event here. Okay, now we are preventing default behavior. What happens whenever we submit anything, the whole form gets empty. So that's why we used to do e.preventDefault in the HTML. We have already seen. Now here we will have the same scenario in the React. So the preventing default behavior form submits and reloads the page by default. Event.preventDefault stops that. Let's suppose you have a input field of email and password and a submit button. You click, it shows that email or password is wrong. And if whole things got like empty, then you need to again type it and then again submit. So it's better if we just go that okay, just 1 2 and at the rate gmail.com. So you have forgot the 3 here, so you can just go and type 3 and just again submit. So it is easier, so that's why we use this. Now we have constant query set query. It is empty, empty string. In the return we have on submit, and here we have handle submit. This function here, whenever this will be submitted, this form will be submitted, this will be called. And here the first line is event prevent default. Okay, this stops the page load. If I go here and write custom form JSX, whenever we write any component, we do not name it very generic like form button anything, so that if we are using any library or something where the form or these things are coming, we get contradicted. So that's why we write this function as custom form, so that we know that we have made this form. And here we have use state. Here we need to export what is search form, and we need to use this search form. And let's go here. Here we write tt and search. So now this TTT is not getting away if we click on search also. But what if we go into this and we just comment this line, and now we click on search, so this is gone. If we click on search, this is gone. If we make it happen, then again if we click on search, nothing is going away. So this line is responsible to not happening the reload. The whole page is getting refreshed. If you see here, I have saved this here. If you click here, the whole page, you just have a look here. Okay, I will click and whole page is refreshing. If you go into the elements and then you will do search, see this is happening. And if you uncomment this prevent default and then search, so it will just search, nothing is, full refresh is happening. If you wanted, okay, I am refreshing but I am not getting the value, so okay, this is form. So this was kind of how the prevent default preserves the, like, stops the reload. Yeah, here we will be seeing the section 3, which is control components. In the control components, we need to understand that when any input field, let's suppose we have email, and this input field is controlled by the state of React. So you have use state, and from that you have created something email and set email, and this value is being updated by any change happening from here by the user. If user is writing LOKESH at the rate gmail.com, so every change in this input will update the value here, and this value is visible here. So it's kind not like you are writing here and when you are clicking OK, so that time this value will be updated here. And but it kind of a real-time update, you can say. Whenever you are updating this input field, this value is getting updated, and you have a form. Let's suppose it's a login form, then there will be email and password with the input field and a login button. So you are typing here, the email value will be updated, and the password, when you are typing, the password type will be updated. This button will trigger a submit. So when this form is submitted, these value will be not taken from here by e.target.value. On the submit, these value will be taken from the states. So what happens? This line, this kind of way to get the value from here will be used to update these states, and on submit we will be using this state. So in normal words, if you see, so a control component is an input whose value is controlled by the React state. The input does not manage its own value, React does. This is the standard way to handle forms in React. If you want to take a analogy, then a control input, like in a notepad on your desk, you can write anything and all. It has its own content, and you can read it, but you can control it directly. You do not control it directly. All control inputs is, so you write it manually, and all those changes could not be deferred. You can just read it. So now the written thing is read only. But the same thing if you do on a like whiteboard connected to a screen, like how I'm writing right now. So whenever on the screen is like whatever you write is on the screen, and exactly what appears on the whiteboard. The React state is kind of that screen. The input is whiteboard. So I'm writing here, and this context is getting updated. Now I will show you the code. So here in this code, if you see, we have used the use state. So this is the default thing that you can consider. Even if I don't write in this code, you will understand that okay, there will be an import of use state from React. Now we have name input. This is a component. What is component? Component is kind of code which is written for reusability, and it returns the one element of div, and that will be used in multiple pages, or it could be used multiple times. That's why we write a component to reduce the number of line of code. Now here we have use state. Use state is used for the giving the memory to that component. Here we have name, set name. This set name is used to update the value of name, and name is used when we want to read only the value of name. Now here we have return. Here we have div. In input field, this is the input field. Type is text. Value is name. So this value will be the value which you will be seeing here in the input. If this is name and you are writing your name like Aditya, so whatever you see here is being rendered by this name, which is this. Okay. On change, whenever you write A, then you write D. So this is kind of value is changing of this input field. So on each change, this set name is called e.target.value. Whatever this target is having the value, this value is updated in this name through this function, which is given by useState. Now placeholder is enter your name. So when nothing is here, so that will be a helping text that defines what you need to do. And when you click to type anything, it will be gone. So it is just to show that okay, enter your name as a message. Now in paragraph after this input field, we write hello name or column. So these are used for or. So if we have name, we will show that name here like Aditya. If not, then we will show stranger. So the by default thing will be input field will be there, name will be there. Here I will see enter your name, and here in paragraph I will say stranger, as this is the default behavior because this name is empty right now. Now when I start typing here, this will be updated by that text. Okay, so this is the kind of example we have seen. Now let's go for full controlled forms. If we go for full controlled forms, so we have currently seen that okay, you are writing in input field, and if something is updated, so this value is getting updated. Now we will see in the picture that how a total of form is used, and the value are updated, and how it is used. As I have mentioned that, just we will see in the code right now. So here we have our React registration form. Here we have use state and the registration form is here. We have taken a form data. In this form data, whatever we have like email, 1 minute. So if we have email, then input box, then what was that? Name, email, password. So we have name, email, password, and then input field, and then register. So here we have labels, and these are input fields, which are the crucial thing. User will come and input their data here, and we will be okay. Then we will be monitoring this button. Whenever user clicks this, we will be registering the user. So the flow is like here we have taken some errors. If there is any error, we need to show that, or if there is submitted, then we need to check that okay, it is submitted or not. So error will be used in order to show a message that okay, you have not entered your name, it is empty, or the email is wrong or something, or the password is not 8 character long. So those checks we can have, and if there is any error, so then we will use these errors. Here we have used handle change. So first let's see what is the form look like. We have a form and there is on submit. On submit will have handle submit as the calling function. When this form will be submitted, then which function needs to be called, as that function will be responsible to do all the checks and register the user. So on submit, what I need to call. So we write that here. And in the you might be thinking that since we have a button, we can write on click call that function. So this is a more cleaner way for the form, that we write on submit and handle submit, and this on submit will be triggered by that button which has the type of submit. Okay, if we click on register, then type submit button will trigger this on submit, and handle submit will be called. So we have some styles here for the CSS. This is the registration kind of only header. And here we have input, which is asking for name. This is a simple name. The input box name is name. And here value is form data dot name. So currently this data is coming from your state. I will close this. Yeah, here. So form data dot name dot email dot password. So when this value will show form data dot name, and on change we are handling handle change, and I go here, open this, then we have a picture that okay, we are taking name and value. So what does mean? Okay, if you go here, and here we are taking name and value from e.target. So each input field, we have seen that there is input has name and value. Here also name, value. Here also name, value. So that's why we are taking name and value from e.target, as this function is responsible to update the state by any change in these, as each of them are calling on change to this function only, and they are passing their event from the e. Here we are taking, okay, what was the change? If this, then we will name will come as name and the new value will be there. If this was changed and called this handle change, you will see this on change also calling handle change, this on change also calling handle change. Okay, so here it will know that I need to update email with the this input, like uh, lucas@gmail.com, and set form data. We need to say this. Here we have used first set form data. Where this is coming? This is coming from here, set form data, as this value will be updated by that state function that is given to us. Now here we have written previous as the parameter, and why we are just not directly updating the value, we have already covered this, that we need to have a previous as the objects arrays, these needs to be updated like this way. So here we will open braces, curly braces, and whatever already we have, we will put there. So this means that all content that we already have will come here, and we will overwrite the name. So here name will be email. So think everything is dynamic here. Here we have written name, but this is a kind of variable that we got here, and whatever we will get from here, that will be printed here. So let's suppose we have earlier name as Aditya, then email aditya@gmail.com, and password 123. Now this previous will put everything as it is here, but if we write the same, like, okay, I need to email here also, and this will be aditya123@gmail.com, then this value will be updating the email. So this will be overwritten by this. Now we have updated values, name, password, email will be updated. So this way we need to update for object and array. Okay, so this way we have updated that. So we have now the understanding of handle change, how this is updating the form data using set form data. Okay, now this is placeholder styling, and error is there. So where error comes from, so we will understand that also. Now we have these three fields, and we have submit, type submit, register. User clicked on the register, it will go to the handle submit. Handle submit we will open. Here it says e.preventDefault. So whenever a user puts all the value here and he clicks on the submit button, these value will get refreshed, everything will be gone all empty, which we do not want. That if user successfully register, we will redirect them to login screen or something, but if not, then he needs to have all the data filled only, because he just needs some fixing, like email has some 1 2 3, some 3 is missing, or any password is wrong or something, then he will just put those values and other values will stay there. So it is kind of good UI UX. So that's why we do e.preventDefault to not refresh the whole page and lose all data. And here we have written constant validation error. So we do a validation on all the data. Here we have not passed anything because all the data lives in form data. If we go here, as this is called, if we go here, new error, empty array is taken, then formed data dot name dot trim. So what will happen if we have something like space Aditya space, then this was the some kind of name is given. So this trim will remove this and this. front and last spaces will be trimmed off. And this will be useful if we have just given spaces in the name and click submit. So it will give that okay, there is nothing as a character in that, all spaces were there. So new error dot name is required will come. So this object will have a key of name and name is required. So this way we will put a check on email, password and all. If we have any element that will be checked here, that object dot keys validation error dot length greater than 0. If any of this was success, means any f1 was there any error, then this object will be filled with any kind of name, email or password, which will be like seen here, and we will put set error and all those validation error and return. We will not go further. So this set error will update this errors. Okay, and that error will be used to show below the input field that okay, we have some error. It will just say error dot name because that error dot name will have that message. If not, then we have this and operator which says that errors dot name is not a kind of string or anything, it doesn't exist, like null or undefined is there, then we will not render this part. So this message will be not rendered. So it is conditional rendering. Okay, here we have checked it. Now set errors will be empty. If this didn't go well, means we do not have any error, then we will reset the error. It will be empty array. Then the set submitted is true. If set submitted is true, then okay, it is submitted. Now if it is submitted, then we need to return a data that okay, that page will be replaced by this welcome form data dot name a registration success. So this we have. Okay, npm run dev. We will have our dev. We have a registration form. If I just click register, name is required, email not valid. If I write location@gmail.com and then I register, so this error is gone, but here we have some password issue. So I will use this. Now I need to put my name. Now let's just put space here. Still name is required. Then I will just put my name and register. So welcome location registration completed. So this was the application that we have just built using that component. Okay, this code will be available here with the name of registration form in the components here in the src component. You can find it here. It will be available on GitHub. That link will be present in the description. Okay, as we discussed right now, that conditional rendering we have already seen. So uh, just more fabricated for each way of conditional rendering we will see. We have already seen that and so I will add more. There is a ternary operator, that condition is here, we'll put a question mark, and if success means if it is true, then this UI will be rendered, else this UI will be rendered. So this is used when we are having some conditions that okay, if a user have some data, we will show this, if not, no data found, some way of that. And here we have condition that okay, if this is true, then only render the this part of UI, else do not show anything, as we have seen in error. Okay, so let's go one by one. So first is ternary operator. For this I will show you the code. Here we have ternary operator. So we have user status is logged in is coming in props. Here we are returning div, and if is logged in, if we have like ternary operator here condition, I am checking if user is logged in. If it is true, then I will write welcome back. If it is false, then I will write please log in to continue, and there will be a message of this on the screen as per the condition of user is logged in or not. And also I will show the buttons here. If logged in, then I will show a logout button as user wants to log out. If not logged in, then we will show login button. The user can click and go to the login page. So this is the ternary operator. We put a condition here. It will result in true or false. And on that, we will have some conditional rendering that, okay, if that is true, then I will show this. If not, then this. So this is ternary operator. Now this and this is short circuit. and evaluation. Okay, for this we have already seen, but still let's have a look on. Here we have notification component. We have count in props. We have in inbox. Let's suppose we have an inbox, and here we want to show you have a one message, or we want to show two message, or if there is no message, then I will show like simply this. So this badge will be conditional. It depends on the count. If this count is greater than 0, then show this span, else not. Else you have count notification and this that. So this span will be visible. Like let's suppose we have kind of here we want to show that you have three messages. You have four unread messages. So this could be seen by conditions that okay, if we have zero message, then no need to see this span or banner, we can say. So here we use that kind of, and also we have already seen when we are building that registration form. Now returning early is when we use return statement. That also we have seen that okay, kind of, but like how we have executed this, if there is some errors we will return, we will not go further. Similarly we will have these return early. Okay, here we have a user profile and we have user here. We need to check if user is there or not. No user found. Like I do not have any user to show, then I will just show user not found and we will stop there, return. So I will not go further. Let's suppose I have user. Now I will check user is banned. If the user is banned, then I will say this account is banned or suspended. We will not show anything and we will stop there. If user is not banned also, then we will show the component that okay, user dot name is this, user dot email is this. So this could be used when the subscription is ended for any SaaS. So there you want to show that okay, your account is your subscription expired, upgrade. So you can click on this and you can go to the payment and you can upgrade. Else if all good, then you will see all the features. So this could be used there also. Then we have rendering list conditionally. Here we have product list where we get products is loading. If we are still loading, like this is the UI and it is asking to the server that okay, give me the data, and this is in the flow right now, we have not received any data, so we need to show loading products. So if loading is true, then we will show this and stop. Now if we got the products and is loading is false now, then we will reach here. We will check if the product length is equal 0, then I will say no product found. If the product is there and it is also false, then we will reach this, and then we will show all the data about the product. We will be using the this product details, and we will show each product details. This could be used in e-commerce website. So here this is rendering list conditionally. So this could be used later. We will see how we will use this, as we will be calling API calls from the backend for the data. So you will have an idea from there. Now we'll go for the state pattern. How the pattern says functional update. So let's suppose you need to have a button which is like +3, and you have a counter 0, and you want to click this, and this will be updated by +1 +1 +1. So 1 2 3, so it will be 3, then +1 and triple +1, so 4 5 6. So it needs to be increasing by 3, always adding 3. So you can write this code, that count set count, and that on click handle triple click. In handle triple click we have set count count +1, set count count +1, set count count +1. So you wrote it 3 times and expected that okay, this count will be updated by 3. But the problem is we are using the reference of the count only, and when this will be completed, then only this set count will go and update the count. React will not be updating each time. it needs to do the all calculation and then it updates the value so that the rendering will be smooth at the last. So all these three uses the same stale count, only +1 happens, not +3. So what is broken here? Let's see. The correct approach will be using the count, set count, useState 0, and set count previous +1, previous +1. So this way, when we write functional update, always gets fresh previous state. So this is the functional update. As you might be thinking it is normal previous fat arrow and previous +1, but you know that okay, this is kind of a function that we see as function, and we are getting previous in the parameter some name here, and here inside this previous +1, and we are returning this. So this is kind of function that we have written already. So this is handle triple click, which is the correct way to use the updated value of that count in one function, in one render actually. So this is that. And now we have object and array state. We have already seen how this. Okay, let's see by example. If we have user set user, here we have object. As I have talked earlier, if we have object, and here we can do user.age equals to 23, directly update and set user. So React will see that okay, this object is not updated because you are going inside that and you're updating this. So it will just sense that okay, the object is not updated. It only updates when the reference is changed. So what happens? We are doing direct mutation and same reference. No render will happen. React thinks nothing changed. But the correct approach is that we have seen dot users comma age 23. So this is the correct approach. So we have spreaded everything here of the users and we are doing override. So new object will be created and that will be set in the set users. Similarly, in the array, what we have seen, if we have an array and we are doing item.pushBanana and this item we are inserting, nothing will happen. We have to do like this spread operator, comma, banana, so that it updates the new array inside the items. Similarly, if we do like items.filter, I not equals to apple, so this removes the element and here we are having a map on this. So these are the functional update that we need to do. So to update the um, state of that item. So if we need to change this item, then we need to go for the functional with the correct way for the object and arrays. Okay. Next, we will see the mini project. Now we will go for section 6, interactivity to do app. Here we have a command that will be creating that project using the white, and we will be building this to do app with the add task, mark as completed, and delete the task if the task is completed, then filter by status. And yeah, this uses everything from today: use state, event handling, controlled inputs, conditional rendering, and array state patterns. So let's get started. We will use this command. We will move. This is the create app. I will move outside this. Inside the part 2, we will paste this. Here we have named the app to do app. Now we'll press enter. And yes. So in the part 2, we have our to do app. It is installing the dependencies. Okay, now it's running. If I copy this and if I come here, so it is the app. Let's go inside that to do app, and here we have our app.jsx. We will delete everything inside this. Okay, and we will need components. Here we will have our todo app.jsx. Here I will import the useState from React, and we can start with todo item, and we will be expecting some props from the parent. So let's expect todo, comma, on toggle and on delete. You will know why we have this. So I will be returning a single div from here and have some styles. So here I've used some CSS properties, and here for the opacity I'm using to-do.completed. If that is true, then the opacity will be this much. If the to-do is not completed, then it will be 1. So it will be completely visible. You will see this CSS property in action later. Right now, the main thing is input. The type is checkbox. And what we are like kind of having a picture of is the pen. Yeah, so we need a checkbox, then something will be written and some action. So here will be the to-do title. Here we need to tick, and this will be completed and all. So this we need. So that's why the first input is the checkbox, and we will have some formatting. Yeah, now type checked will be to do dot completed on change. Here we will have a function defined for the one liner. That's why it is defined here only on toggle. This function is imported from here. So that's why we can do that. Toggle dot id. So whenever if we click this, then it will be toggling this id, means that there will be multiple uh, here. There will be multiple to do things, but if I am clicking here, so this needs to be completed. If I am unclicking this task needs to be uncompleted. So this task will have some id, so that's why I'm passing that id to toggle that. Now for the styling, we will use, so this was the input, and now we will have span will be used to show the to do text. Let's add some CSS to it. Now we have our span here for now. Input and span are there. Now let's go for the button. Now for the on click, since this button is about delete, so we will be having on click here, and on delete will be used to do dot id. Now we have delete here. We will add some CSS to it, or we can just write like this. It will be better understanding. Now the div is closed. Now let's make the to do here and constant to do set to do equals useState and empty array. So here what we can do, we can just have predefined to-dos here, and then we can take input for the text of it will be okay. 1 minute. First, let's define other fields. Format document. Yeah, we will take input comma set input equals use state, and this will be empty. Then we will have filter, set filter, and again use state all. So this is what we have talked earlier, that we will be using filters. So currently the use state has a default of all, and if we wanted to change the filter by completed or not completed, then this value will be changing. And here we have input, so the user input will come here. Then we have function on toggle. We need to define both of these. So we will use this, and this will get ID. Then we have function on delete. It will also get the ID. We have some function needs to be written. Then filter to-dos. Now let's suppose we want to have some okay, this we can take as filtered to-dos, and here the to-dos what we have right now should be to-dos dot filter and to-do. Now it depends on the filter condition that what we want to show now. If the filter says all, then there will be no filter, like no filtering needs to be happen. But what if here something as active or completed is coming? Then what we can do, to do if filter equals active, to do dot is completed, and similarly to do dot. So here we have three conditions. If the filter complete is active, then we will be returning not to do dot completed. Means if the to do dot completed is true, then it will become false, and the completed one will not go in that. But if we are having the completed, then it will send only the completed one. So right now what is happening? This is true. So the ones to do which having the to do as completed as true, then those will be considered. Otherwise, if it is false like this, so currently if the condition is false and with not false, it becomes true, so these active ones will be considered. So this is the flip we can see from the one boolean. We use this as the true or false. So this filter takes true or false, that this item will be considered or not. So that's why this happens like that. And for the all condition, we will be returning true for all. So that's why this filter will have all the to do's inside this. Now we have a count, like active count equals to do's dot filter to do's, and here we can use just this one. So here we are counting active ones, so we can just return this. Yeah, now good. And dot length. Similarly, here we can write completed count and it will be gone. Now we will write the return that what UI will be there. Now we will have one to do form, and here we will use the form. Action will be what answer we have at to do. This needs to be called. Added some CSS here. Now we have input. The text will be there. Name will be input. Here we will have value equals input, whatever input is happening. As we have seen this form already on change, we will be triggering the event to set input e dot target dot value, and here we will be having a placeholder. It is just enter the to do, and we have styling. And now below this we will add one button, and this will be add. So here we have type as submit. Since this button is submit, so when user clicks on this add, this function will be called. Okay, here we have made mistake. As we have seen, this string is for HTML, not for React. This will go like this. Now we need to define these add to do, on toggle, on delete. Before that, let's see if we can have some UI. Export default to do. So in the app.jsx, here we will add the to do. npm.dev. Here we have our to do. If we add something, add. However, there is nothing to like happen in the function. There is nothing, so that's why nothing is happening. We have here two remaining, one done. Why this is coming? Because we have already three of the kind of hard-coded ones. So what we will do, as we have already these objects here, right now we will be fixing these, like populating the functionality here. And we need to add more after this form. We need to display the existing to-dos, then the filter we need to show. So all those things we will be working on now. So let's first do the add to do. So the first thing we will do e dot prevent. So this e dot prevent default will stop the reload, as we have already covered this. So you must be knowing this. And if we need to check input is there or not, then we will have some conditions. We will trim this. So you, if you don't know, like this was covered in the let a equals string something, then space, then this. Now a dot length length is 8, but you see 5 characters are only there and the others are space, but I don't need space, so then I will do a dot trim, and then we will put length on this, so I will get 5. So this kind of task of this trim is to remove the front and last spaces. So what happens if someone just types this, then he adds some space and then again space, so this last space will be not considered, or in the starting if there is any space, so this will be not considered. So that's why we add this trim. And also this will be useful if someone just added space and clicked add, so at the time we will be seeing, so it will be just empty, so we do not want any empty to do, so that there will be no usefulness of that. So if something is there, then we will return or just add, we will do a alert, uh, please enter uh, new task or something, and we will return from here. If that has some content, then we will go and set to dos. Here we will see while we are uh, doing this, so we will see previous and array inter dot dot dot. This is the spread operator that we have seen. So whatever previously we had, all those things, and the new thing is this object id, then date dot now, as the date now is always keep changing because it is as per the time that is going on. So in seconds, in ms it will show, and text, the input dot trim, and what was that, completed, so it is new task, so this is active. Okay, now oh, this will be false, and set input will be empty. So we have cleared the input field, we have added the to dos here. Now on toggle we have, so set to dos. Here we need to we need to go with the previous again, and here we will be having previous dot map and to do. So if I format this one, it will become this. So we have what we have done, we have set to dos. So I will take the previous, whatever previous we had, previous dot map. On this we will look for each to do, and we will match if the id matches for which we need to do the toggle. If we find that, I will put that to dos all here and comma completed, do this toggle will happen. If that is false, then it become true. If the true, then it becomes false. So this was toggle, and on delete we will again need to find this full by having set to dos and previous and fat arrow. Here we will filter previous dot filter for those which are not equals to this. So to do format filter to do, yeah. So here we will do to do dot id not equals id. We have this filter to do's already. We have the functionality completed. Now we need to show the to do's here, since this was the form only, so we need to add some filter tabs first. Okay, first we will go for the to-do list. As we want to see some results. So here I will do filtered to-dos dot length if greater than 0, then do this, otherwise just so h1 uh, no task found. Here we will use the to do that we have created above. Here we need to pass some elements as it is to do on toggle on delete. So we will be passing that to do equals to do, then on toggle will be on toggle and on delete. So this is how we call this component for each of the to-dos to show in the UI. So let's see. Okay, right now we have this. Okay, let's clear this. Yeah. And now if let's suppose this is completed and I cross this, so it becomes that 0 is done and 2 is remaining. And if I add something meaningful like walk, and this is going away, so let's fix this, otherwise this is working fine. Okay, now when we clicked on add, so this function was called e.preventDefault. If input is giving alert, set to dos, complete as false. So these things are all good, but still there is some issue. Okay, we will be checking that, but before that, let's build the filter. Mm, mm, Filter tabs. Here we have div having some styles. Uh, let's take an array constant filters equals all. Then we have completed. Then we have active. So we will use this here and filter.map. We have button here. We'll put some styles, then close. Here it will be whatever filter we want to show. We need onClick. So whenever we have the onClick, we need to do the filtering. So this needs to be happening since we have here. Wait a minute. Here, this is the function that will filter it, but what really we want to know, since we are all using this. Okay, yeah, and the filter condition is here, so we just need to update that filter. Whenever someone clicks, we will set filter f. This will be either this f will be whatever array has like all, or this filter has all completed and all those things, so this could be set here. And for the styling, this and key will be f. Now let's save this and refresh. Okay, nothing is coming. Let's see what is bad here. This was the extra bracket. Hmm, okay, nothing is on still. If your filters.map f is coming, this filter has the access to this. This is an array. Okay, I've made some fixes. Now this is working. Here we have completed active all is working right now. So this we have this filter is just setting the set filter. So this click will be updating the value of use state filter, and this filter is used for the updating filter to dos, which does the filter here. We are not calling this function, but it automatically get updated because this value is updating. So now we have this working, the delete is working. If something is added, that is not working. Okay. So here's the error. This is action. We need to do on submit. Now, if we add anything, so this is working. If we delete, and tick as completed, tick is completed. So everything is working. So we have achieved a to-do app, and this is working fine. So now you will be having a task that to have better CSS, and if you want to add more features, like having, if it is deleted, then there will be a delete history here, that okay, I want to see what was the deleted and all, or I want a percentage here that how much task is completed, or we can add a calendar that when I need to close this, so you can add date here. So all extra things that you can do, you should do. And here we have completed the part 2 of the React. Now In this video, we have covered useState, the hooks that adds memory to component, event handling with onClick, onChange, onSubmit, controlled components, input tied to the state, conditional rendering, and with ternary operator, double and early returns and state early returns. We have seen here also that mm, here this is also early return, that if this is, then this will be returned and all those things. So, and the ternary operator we have seen in the conditional of if the to-dos are there, then so that, yeah, here if nothing is present, if you will just cross everything, so no task found. So this will be because of this ternary operator. So we have seen that we have built the complete interactive to-do app with add, delete, toggle, filter functionality. In React part 3, we will cover useEffect. That is where we connect React to the outside world, fetching data from APIs, running code when the components load, watching for changes. We rebuild the user dashboard from the JS series, and but it is this time this will be in the React, and the proper use state managing loading and error handling states will be managed. If you have any doubt, just comment below, and I will be covering that in part 3. And the notes will be available here in the part 2. I will be adding that here, and also I will be having some interview questions that could be expected from these topics, so that will be also present in that notes only. You can suppose something like notes dot, or we can make a file folder here, notes. So you will find all the content here, and this will be these all codes will be present in the description. Okay, thank you.